All right, we're real happy. We launched MD3. This is Randy. Randy and I are kind of friends, or from hometown. We became friends through another friend, and it's a long story. We're not going to waste time, but that's where MD3 started. And he and I, neither one of us really knew what we had here as far as professional ingredients and all that, but it was like, hey, it's worth a try, let's see what happens. So we bring it to you guys. We didn't have a lot of marketing planned, but we had a good product at a good price. We went out with this pretty strong, and quite frankly, we've done very well. You know, this is instant gratification. It works. It allows people to at least say, what else do you have? Well, now it's time to actually learn what the hell we're selling. And Becca here is a, gosh, she's got like degrees in about everything to do with skincare, and she's going to teach us really what we're selling. So let's pay close attention. We're sitting on a tiger. We just need to be able to tame it and get it out there, okay?
So I thought today we would do a little refresher on the skin, just to kind of get your minds back into that world. Maybe this is the first time you're seeing this information. Maybe you're an esthetician and this is a little bit of a review for you. But I promise we'll kind of connect some key selling points to these products after we go through that. Does that sound like a plan? Okay, so just some interesting facts on the skin. When we think about topical skincare and cosmeceutical skincare, you know, why do we need topical skincare? Well, the skin's the largest organ of your body. It's your first level of defense against everything environmentally around you. And it receives the least amount of nutrients from your diet. So the water you drink, the antioxidants that you take, supplements, it takes care of your heart, your lung, your brain, all of that good stuff first, and your skin's the last to receive it. So it's kind of like the neglected organ. Luckily, with scientific advancements, we know exactly what the skin needs and how we can deliver it straight into the skin. The skin has a natural renewal rate of about every 28 days. So we'll talk about that as we get into how we deliver active ingredients, how we stimulate certain processes within the skin. But this is a truly scientifically backed collection. I mean, literally, I could provide clinical studies and all sorts of good stuff to back up what we're talking about today. So if you have any particular questions, let me know. The skin is not a sponge. It's very discerning. So if your skin soaked up everything that it came in contact with, we would, you know, come out of a bath or a shower and we would be completely distended. So when we talk about delivery of certain ingredients, there's certain forms of ingredients that your skin will recognize, certain forms that it may not let in. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Most of the damage that we incur happens in our younger years. There's 7 layers of the skin, which we're going to dissect in a minute. And the damage happens at the very lower levels first and then works its way up to the point where it becomes visible. So we have certain imaging technology that we use in professional skincare. It's kind of like our own crystal ball. We can look into the future. So this is, I would think, a young lady who probably is in her mid-20s at the most. And if we look at her skin, you can see the amount of sun damage she's already incurred. So this is what we call hyperpigmentation. You can call it age spots, sunspots. This happens in the lower levels and then becomes more visible as we get older. This type of damage is your skin's autoimmune response to UV rays. These are the same rays that age us. Your skin knows that. It tries to protect itself by creating pigment. That's why sunscreen is partly so important, not just because of, you know, the cosmetic benefits of it, but we want to prevent mutated cells, skin cancers, all that sort of thing. So if we look at the layers of the skin, we're going to kind of dissect it so we know really what we're talking about. We don't want to claim anything out of our scope. There's only so far that we can deliver ingredients into the skin, and the average consumer is becoming more and more savvy, so we don't want to claim something that we know is not possible. So let's figure out what that exactly is. So if we look at this image here, we're looking at kind of like a cross-section of the skin. So if you were to slice it like a cake and we were to look at all of the different layers, this is what we would be looking at. So there's 3 main layers that we're talking about. The epidermis, which is here, the dermis, which is this middle section, and then the hypodermis. The hypodermis we don't really care about. We can't really reach that level. If you were to have an injection, or if you were seeing a dermatologist or a plastic surgeon, they might be able to operate within that level, but when we're talking about topical skincare, we're really operating within the epidermis here, and sometimes we're able to create reactions that happen in the dermis. The dermis is where your live, healthy tissue is. That's where your collagen and elastin live. So if you think of collagen and elastin like a screen, it's a webbing, and that's what provides the structure and support for your skin. So as that depletes, as that gets loose, that's when the skin loses its firmness and starts to sag. The epidermis is really what you touch when you're touching the top of your skin. So we have new baby cells that start off at this basal layer here, and then they go through their life cycle. A typical life cycle when we're in our 20s and our teens is about 30 days. As we age, that process also slows down. Another big reason that the skin ages. So when we talk about certain peptides and certain exfoliation techniques, we're going to talk about stimulating the skin cell turnover rate. We want those cells to reproduce as quickly as possible. It's also going to act as a catalyst for other ingredients to work quick too. Think of it like a motor. We want it to be running constantly so that when we're adding things in, we can get the results quicker. A lot of times when people start a topical skincare range, they'll ask, how long until I see results? And the answer is pretty much always going to be between about 4 and 6 weeks. And that's because of the skin cell turnover rate. So as soon as I get ingredients into the bottom, they can work their way to the surface. That's when I'll really start to see a visible change in my skin, unless it's an instant product, which we'll talk about also. So this is where pigment is created. This is where collagen lives. All of the different organelles in the skin that we need to talk about in order to support a true anti-aging claim are going to happen in those first two layers, the epidermis and the dermis. When we talk about skin types versus skin conditions, it's important to know, and as the range grows, we'll dissect this even more. A skin type is something that is usually more permanent. So a dry skin, an oily skin, and a normal skin. Your skin type really talks about how much moisture is in your skin. It may change as we age. As everything else slows down, your oil production typically slows down as you age as well. So you may be oilier in your younger years and find that you're drier in your older years. But that's not a skin condition. A skin condition is something cosmeceutically that we can treat. So when we talk about fine lines and wrinkles, that would be a skin condition. When we talk about hyperpigmentation or age spots, slacking of the skin, if someone were to have acne, those would be skin conditions. So a little bit of a separation there. When we look at what healthy skin looks like versus what damaged skin looks like, I don't know if you can see it well. I can also send you guys these slides that might act as a nice show and tell. But the diagram on the left is what a damaged skin type will look like. So I'll kind of dissect it for you. That dermal layer that we talked about, the collagen and elastin, that webbing that we rely on to keep the skin nice and firm, starts to degrade, so it becomes very loose. These cells here, this is where your stem cells live. You also have your melanin producing cells. This melanin cell has been really stimulated, and all of these dark spots here are a hyperpigmentation. So that's what you would see as a discoloration on the surface of the skin. The cells are very shriveled up. They're not very well organized. And then these top cells here, you can see how rough this skin looks. You can see the irregular color. And then you can see because of the damaged collagen and elastin, you have an actual wrinkle here. So this is the goal. This is what healthy, young, beautiful skin looks like. We have very tight and organized collagen and elastin. Our melanin cell has not been overstimulated, so we're not dealing with any pigmentation issues. The cells are nice and plump and juicy like a grape. We don't want shriveled up raisin cells. We want nice, juicy grape cells. And they're going through their life cycle, and then they're going to shed. You can see that the surface of the skin here is much more hydrated, and it's much more even in texture. So when we're talking about different benefits that products are going to create, this is a visual of what we're talking about. And I'm going a little bit quick because I want to get to the good stuff, but does anyone have any questions so far? Okay. So a few of you, we got to chat a little bit last night, and we talked about regimens. How do we put products together? So two main schools of thought, morning and night. Morning products are always going to be preventative. We're out in the elements, our skin's being attacked by free radicals, by UV exposure, pollution. I mean, now the whole anti-pollution story is even coming into skincare, so there's a lot that we have to protect ourselves against. So pretty much anything that we're wearing during the day after our cleanser is meant to protect our skin from all of these elements. When we talk about a nighttime regimen, we sleep, our body goes through its natural repairing process, right? When you're sick, you need lots of rest. Same thing with the skin. So nighttime regimen, we're going to introduce corrective ingredients, so things that are going to kind of turn back the hands of time or correct damage that's already been done. So if you think about layering products, you can also keep in mind texture. So there's certain ingredients that we need to penetrate to deeper levels of the skin, and there's certain products that we use to do that. Some people may think, why do I need a serum? It just seems like a sales gimmick. I just need so many more products. It's really not the case. There's really the dermis and the epidermis. We need certain ingredients to get to certain levels so they can affect the change of the cells in those areas. So a serum is always going to be able to penetrate deeper. It's going to have a much more lighter texture, and it's going to absorb almost instantaneously to the skin. A serum is not meant to create a barrier like a moisturizer would. A moisturizer is really there to seal in everything, to create a breathable barrier where these ingredients aren't going to be able to evaporate back out of the skin. So it's based on hydration, based on moisture, and then based also on the active ingredients. Some people spend a lot of money on really fancy creams, right, that are loaded with a lot of expensive ingredients. In professional skincare, we know it's kind of a joke. Because if you want something to actually get into the skin to penetrate, it needs to be in a serum. So we're going to talk about some really great serums today. But that might be an educational selling point if you're up against, somebody who uses La Mer, for instance. That's a big one. People spend so much money on it. And I hate to name drop, but it's one of the big ones out there. And it's not really going to be able to affect a huge change because there's no delivery system there. So when we talk about morning and night, morning is what? Preventative. Evening is what? Corrective. And then when we're building a regimen, we're always going to layer serums or layer products from thinnest to thickest. There's one exception, and that's vitamin C. Vitamin C always goes first on the skin in the day, no matter what the texture is and no matter what else you're putting. It's kind of like medicine. It always has to go on first.
Wow.
What if you're using like an acne product as well?
If you're using an actual prescription from a dermatologist, that would always go on first. So we talked a little bit about what ages us. What are the main aggressors?
Free radicals.
Free radicals. What's a free radical?
Sun. Pollutants, pollution.
So this is an important story because a lot of people know exactly why they need sunscreen. If I were to ask any of you, why do I need sunscreen? Well, to prevent skin cancer and to keep your skin from aging. You would all have a very concise 1 or 2 sentences where you could sell me a sunscreen if I asked you to. If I asked you to sell me an antioxidant, how would you sell me an antioxidant?
Prevent free radicals.
Why do I care about that?
That's what causes aging.
Okay. How is it different than a sunscreen?
Because the free radicals, the antioxidant or the vitamin C is canceling out and getting the free radicals out of our skin so it's not absorbing deep into our deeper tissues to cause the damage.
Exactly.
Boom.
So
Kind of like terrorists.
Boom.
I'm going to break it down even a little bit further and even a little bit more simple that is very layman terms, right? So when we talk about oxidation, that's the process that we're trying to prevent. Oxidation is the depletion of oxygen out of a tissue. So if we think about a green apple on your kitchen counter or an avocado on your counter, what's going to happen to that piece of fruit? It's going to brown, which is oxidation. What if we were to take that apple and we were to take lemon juice and we were to put lemon juice on half of the apple, or we were to put lemon juice on your guacamole? What would happen?
It stays fresh.
It stays fresher longer. Why is that?
Because of the acid?
Because of the vitamin C. And it partly has to do with the pH. The pH has to be acidic in order for the vitamin C to be active. I love talking to a bunch of chemists who know pH level. So the best way to describe it is free radicals are unstable molecules in the atmosphere. They're missing electrons, they're greedy, so they're looking for something to balance them out. So they're going to take it from whatever they can get it from. living tissue is the best way to find oxidant. So they'll take it from fruit, they'll take it from our skin. So that oxidation process, just like a piece of fruit will rot, same thing with your skin.